There is a difference between answers and actions. Grace and peace, everybody. Mission to my neighbor. Today we go to the Good Samaritan story. We touched around it in the beginning part of the series, but we're looking at a specific aspect of the story today to help us to illustrate Jesus's method when it comes to being a missionary to our neighbors. Let's go to the story to see here in Luke chapter 10. Jesus now explains to the lawyer trying to test him, and he says who his neighbor is. A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance, there came down a certain priest that way. And when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. This is the beginning of the story of the Good Samaritan. It starts with this guy who's on the way to Jericho and he gets jacked. He literally gets jumped and he is on the side of the road. Who comes first? The first person to see this brother is a priest. A priest is someone we can assume who is pretty versed in the ways of God. This is someone who literally works full time in ministry for the Lord himself. This is someone who has a certain knowledge base. This is someone who has a certain experience. If you will, this is somebody who's got the answers and he knows what is right. But it's not what he does. It is not what he chooses to do. He has the answers, but not the actions. The actions are missing even in the presence of the answers. We're saying this in a lot of different ways so we can understand that just our understanding does not necessarily mean it's what we do. It's just an understanding. It's just what we know. And answers and actions, when it comes to dealing with those around us, are two different things. It doesn't stop there. Another person comes along. This time, it says in verse 32, likewise, a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him and passed by on the other side. This is a Levite now. This is someone we can assume he has the answers. He's a Levite. This is obviously someone who's not just a worker in the things of God, but by definition, he's a Levite. This is someone who belongs to the tribe of Levi. And Levi was one of the sons of Jacob. And Jacob was the man whose name was changed from Jacob to Israel. This was an Israelite. See, with the priest, that was his role. But now we're looking at someone and looking at their affiliation. What organization do they belong to? What church do they go to? This is a Levite, an Israelite, certified by Christ. He's got the answers. He's got the role, but he don't have the righteousness. He does not show the action. Jesus gives us this story to show that faith is not just knowing the truth. And faith is not just believing the truth, but ultimately, faith is our be-living of truth. All right, believe, right? Believing is not enough. I believe it enough to be living it. That's where the priest fell short. This is where the Levite fell short. And it's why the Samaritan was not just called the Samaritan, but the Good Samaritan. Have no idea how much Bible that brother knows. Have no idea how much study he's been in. Don't even know necessarily what church he belongs to. I just know he's from Samaria. And Jesus calls him good because his answers translated into action. He does what he knows. I know what he knows, and I know what he believes by how he be living or how he lives. It's why we read James 4:17 to close. Therefore, to him, us, we, she, y'all, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. Knowing to do good is one thing, but doing it is all the other. That's why we want to pray for the Spirit of God to come into our hearts and to activate not just the answers, knowing the way when it comes to dealing with the neighbor, make sure we are also living the way.